4.7 million. That's how many kids Australia just banned from social media in 1 week. Parents cheered, teachers clapped, politicians gave speeches about protecting the children. Sounds like a victory, right? Wrong. Here's what actually happened. Those 4.7 million kids didn't disappear from the internet. They just went deeper. Into places where no algorithm tracks them, where no adult watches them, where no law can reach them. You didn't save them. You just removed them from supervision. And that's not protection. That's a sentence. But here's the part they're not telling you. The Australian government admitted it themselves. Quote, implementation will not be perfect. Let me translate that for you. We just created a black market for kids. You think a 14-year-old can't figure out a VPN? My nephew did it in 4 minutes while eating cereal. The ban didn't remove them from social media. It removed them from supervision. Now they're on private servers, encrypted apps, dark corners of the internet where parents can't follow. Predators don't need to hide anymore because the kids are hiding themselves. Is that your definition of protection? Or is it just performative parenting disguised as policy? Canada is watching. The UK is taking notes. The US is staying quiet. Why? Because they know something you don't. This ban isn't about protecting kids. It's about protecting platforms from lawsuits. Meta just lost $375 million in a US court for negligence. The next lawsuit won't be about safety features. It'll be about why age bans don't work. The data is already clear, and the elites know it. They don't care if your child's mental health gets worse. They care about who pays next, and no one is telling you this. Here's the part that makes both sides furious. Kids who use zero social media have worse mental health than moderate users. That's not my opinion. That's JAMA Pediatrics, peer-reviewed, published. Zero is not the answer. Never was. The answer is supervision, education, digital literacy. But those things take time. They take effort. They take parenting. A ban? That's just a button you push so you can feel like you did something. So let me ask you, is Australia protecting its kids, or did they just create a bigger problem? Next, the parents who cheered, the politicians who celebrated, and the 4.7 million kids who just disappeared from sight. Because scene 2 is going to piss off everyone who thought this was a victory. Let's talk about the parents who cheered, the ones who posted "finally" on Facebook, the ones who think they just won a war for their children's innocence. Here's the ugly truth they don't want to hear. You didn't protect your kid. You just lost visibility. Before the ban, at least you knew where they were. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You could check their phone. You could see their DMs. Now, they're on encrypted apps you've never heard of, private servers you can't access, dark corners of the internet that don't have report buttons. Congratulations. You just made your child invisible to everyone, except the people who shouldn't find them. But here's the part that should keep you up at night. The Australian government says they deactivated 4.7 million accounts. Sounds impressive, until you realize what deactivated actually means. It means those kids opened a new account the next day. Different email, different birthday, no way for anyone to verify. The ban didn't remove them from social media. It removed their real identity. Now they're lying about their age, lying about their name, lying about who they are. And the platforms? They're not checking. They can't check. There's no ID scanner for a 14-year-old's face. There's no age verification that actually works. So congratulations again. You didn't ban kids from social media. You just taught them how to lie better. Is that the lesson you wanted to teach? And then there's the politicians. The ones who posed for cameras. The ones who signed the bill with a straight face. They know this ban has holes. They know kids are bypassing it. They know because their own staff told them. But they signed anyway. Why? Because it's easier to ban than to fix. Fixing the system requires regulation, enforcement, money, actually holding platforms accountable. A ban? That's just a press conference, a headline, something you point to when parents ask, "What did you do?" You did nothing. You just made it someone else's problem. And no one is saying this out loud. So here's where we are. Parents feel safe. Politicians look good. The media moves on to the next story. And 4.7 million kids just learned that adults have no idea what they're doing. They learned that rules are easy to break, that lying works, that nobody's actually watching. You wanted to protect them. You just taught them the opposite. The question isn't whether Australia went too far. The question is whether they did anything at all. Next, the people who actually win from this ban. Hint, it's not the parents. It's not the kids. And it's definitely not Australia. Scene 3 is going to make you question who really runs the internet. Let me tell you who's actually laughing right now. Not the parents, not the politicians, not the teachers. The platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You think they're scared of this ban? They're celebrating it. Here's why. Before the ban, they had to pretend to care about age verification. They had to spend millions on safety features that never worked. They had to sit through congressional hearings and apologize. Now, they just point to the law. Sorry, your government said no. They don't have to fix anything. They don't have to innovate. They don't have to protect your kids. They just have to block a few email addresses and call it a day. The ban didn't hurt them. It gave them an excuse. But here's the part that should make you furious. Think about the economics of this. A kid gets banned from Instagram. What do? They don't go outside. They don't read a book. They find another app. An app with less oversight, fewer rules, no parents, no report buttons. The ban didn't reduce screen time. It just shifted it. From platforms that at least try to moderate to platforms that don't try at all. And those smaller platforms, they're not spending millions on safety. They're not hiring moderators. They're not verifying ages. They're just collecting data, your child's data, and selling it. The ban didn't protect your kid. It just changed who profits from them. And no one is talking about this. And then there's the VPN industry. They're having the best year of their lives. Overnight, millions of Australian parents started Googling how to unblock social media for their kids. Not to help them break the law, but just to keep an eye on them. The irony is disgusting. Parents are now paying for their kids to access the same platforms that were supposed to be banned. The ban created demand. Demand created profit. Profit created more VPN ads. More VPN ads mean more kids learning how to hide. The government didn't solve a problem. They created a new market. A market where parents pay to lose control. And the VPN companies? They're not verifying ages either. They don't care who's using their service. They just want the subscription. Is this really the world you wanted? So let me ask you again. Who won here? Not the parents. They're more confused than ever. Not the kids. They're in darker places now. Not Australia. They just created a problem they can't control. The winners are the platforms who dodged responsibility, the VPNs who profit from the chaos, and the politicians who got their photo op. Everyone else? You got played. The question isn't whether Australia went too far. The question is whether you're willing to admit you were wrong. Next, The data that destroys both sides of this debate. The left won't admit it, the right won't admit it. But Scene 4 is going to force you to pick a side. And neither option is comfortable. You've heard the left. Protect the kids. Ban the platforms. You've heard the right. Government overreach. Parents decide. Both sides are yelling. Both sides think they're right. And both sides are about to be embarrassed. Because here's the data neither side wants you to see. JAMA Pediatrics, peer-reviewed, 2025. They studied 200,000 teenagers across 4 countries, the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia. They wanted to know the relationship between social media and mental health. The answer broke everyone's brain. Kids who used zero social media had worse mental health outcomes than kids who used it moderately. Let me say that again. No social media at all was worse than some social media. But here's the part that destroys the ban entirely. The data also found that kids who were banned from social media didn't have better mental health. They had worse social skills, worse emotional regulation, worse ability to detect risk online. Because here's the ugly truth nobody wants to admit. Social media is not the problem. Unsupervised social media is the problem. A 14-year-old on Instagram with parents who check in? Fine. A 14-year-old on Instagram in a locked room at 2 a.m.? Disaster. The ban treats both kids the same. It punishes the supervised ones to catch the unsupervised ones. And in the process, it removes the one place where kids learn digital literacy. You didn't protect them. You just made sure they never learn how to navigate the internet safely. And that's not a solution. That's abandonment. But here's the part that makes the left furious. And here's the part that makes the right furious. You say parents should decide. You say government should stay out. Fine. But look at what parents are actually doing. A 2024 study found that 70% of parents think they know what their kids are doing online, but only 20% actually do. Let that sink in. That's not a small gap. That's a blind spot. Most parents aren't monitoring. They aren't supervising. They aren't having the hard conversations. They're just hoping for the best. And hope is not a strategy. So here's the truth neither side wants to hear. The left is wrong because bans don't work. The right is wrong because parents aren't parenting. The real solution is somewhere in the middle, and nobody wants to admit it. But here's the part that changes everything. The answer was never a ban. The answer was never doing nothing. The answer is supervision, education, digital literacy, and actual parenting. But those things are hard. A ban is easy. And that's why Australia chose easy. Not because it works, but because it looks like they did something. Now you have to choose. Are you going to keep cheering for a ban that made things worse? Or are you going to admit that you were played? Next, the final scene. No more data, no more debate. Just one question you have to answer. And your answer will tell me exactly who you are. Scene 5. You don't want to miss this. So here we are, 12 minutes later. 4.7 million kids banned. Parents cheering. Politicians smiling. VPNs getting rich. And the data is clear. The ban didn't protect anyone. It just moved the problem somewhere darker. Somewhere parents can't see. Somewhere platforms don't care. Somewhere politicians won't follow. So now, you have a choice. Not a political choice. Not a left or right choice. A personal choice. Are you going to keep pretending that banning things solves problems? Or are you going to admit that real solutions require real work? There's no middle ground here. You're either for easy answers that make things worse, or hard answers that might actually work. Pick one. If you choose the ban, you're choosing to feel good instead of being effective. You're choosing press conferences over parenting. You're choosing to outsource your responsibility to a government that already admitted they can't enforce it. And that's fine. Just admit it. Say it out loud. I don't want to do the work. I want someone else to fix it. But if you choose supervision, education, digital literacy, then you have work to do. You have to talk to your kids. You have to learn the apps. You have to be uncomfortable. There's no law that does that for you. There's no ban that replaces you. So which one is it going to be? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to show you the data. And the data says the ban is a lie. A lie that 4.7 million kids are paying for. So here's my question to you, and I want an answer in the comments. Are you on team ban and forget, or team supervise and teach? There's no third option. Pick your side and defend it. Because the next country to try this ban might be yours. And if you're not paying attention now, you'll be the parent cheering while your kid disappears into the dark.